In the mid-2000s, Waka Flocka Flame was at the height of his career. He had Billboard Hot 100 hits, he was signed to one of the most popular rappers of the day in Gucci Mane, and he had videos on every music station. But after years of tragedy and setbacks, Waka Flocka now finds himself performing at Pokemon trading card conventions. How? Where did he go wrong? Let's find out. I'm Nate the Great from Takeflight214.com, and this is Life After Rap, the misinterpretation of Waka Flocka Flame. But before we get started, please take a second to stop and hit that like button for us. Liking and sharing these videos is the only way to help smaller channels like ours continue to grow. But now that we got that all out of the way, let's jump into the story. Born Joaquin James Malphurs in 1986, Jamaica, Queens, New York, a young Waka spent his first 9 years on the East Coast. He was introduced to the legal hustle and a strong work ethic early on thanks to the influence of his mom, Deb Anthony. Deb was no stranger to hard work. As a single mother of 5, she had the grind to make ends meet. Everything from a lemonade stand, a makeshift animal hospital, babysitting, and cleaning establishments, she always did what she had to do. Before Waka's 10th birthday, Deb decided to take a risk and moved the family down south to Atlanta, Georgia, in hopes that they could find a better quality of life. Once arriving in Atlanta, Deb landed a job with the Georgia Department of Family and Children's Services. But while working as a community organizer, Deb would encounter young and up-and-coming rappers such as Ludacris and David Banner. They all stopped by to participate in activities for the kids, and Deb, being the enterprising person that she is, made connections with them. She also met another promising youngster who went by the name of Gucci Mane, who had recently had a run-in with the law and was remanded to community service. Deb was tasked with helping him find said service, but she also saw the talent within him and was able to sign him to a management deal under her new company that she had recently launched, named Miss A Entertainment. Deb managed Gucci Mane as he made his breakthrough in the industry, and she remained his manager throughout the early years, which would open the doors of opportunity for her son. And after his mom began managing Gucci Mane, Waka Flocka basically started out as an assistant / muscle for the burgeoning rapper. Having been given the name Waka after the Muppets character Fozzie's catchphrase, of all things, he began to feel the urge to rap for himself. At first, Gucci tried to dissuade him, telling him that he would be better off as a goon. Going against said advice, Waka decided to give it a go, and in 2009, he released his debut mixtape, Salute Me or Shoot Me. The mixtape featured the song Oh Let's Do It, which was released as a commercial single in April of that year. Seeing the opportunity for money on the horizon, Gucci had no choice and he had to sign Waka to his label. And just like that, Waka Flocka's career was off to the races. However, not long after being signed, misfortune would rear its ugly head. In January of 2010, Waka Flocka was shot and robbed at a car wash in Atlanta. Having only been hit in the arm though, he was able to make a pretty speedy recovery and get back into the studio. But the incident would leave a lasting impression on the young rapper. On the positive side though, Oh Let's Do It had debuted at number 95 on the Billboard Hot 100 and eventually peaked at number 62. Throughout that year, he released the singles Hard in the Paint, Grove Street Party, and No Hands, all of which turned out to be huge hits, cementing Waka Flocka in the hearts and minds of rap fans the world over. Waka's debut studio album, Flockavelli, dropped on October of 2010, reaching number 6 on the US Billboard 200 charts. But things couldn't continue going that smoothly for long. Later in 2010, while in jail, Gucci Mane fired Waka's mom as his manager. Originally, there was no animosity between Gucci and Waka on the surface. In interviews, Waka put on a good face, and Gucci Mane showed up in attendance to public events with him. But you gotta think that Waka must have felt the way about this personally. His mom basically took Gucci Mane in. He was almost like a stepbrother to him, so to speak. Waka Flocka's music was characterized by the high-octane beats courtesy of producers like Lex Luger. His live performances were notorious for their intensity, often turning into mosh pits, which was a rarity for hip-hop in that time. The problem is, though, Waka was always sort of a hybrid rapper, so to speak. He wasn't really a trap rapper, though he had those elements. He also wasn't really a crunk rapper either, even though he had those elements as well. He never really fit into a clear lane, in my opinion. In 2011, Waka released a collab mixtape with Gucci Mane titled Ferrari Boys. Then later in 2012, he released his second solo album, Triple F Life, Friends, Fans, and Family. Unfortunately though, Waka would get hit by the sophomore slump on this one, as his second album failed to achieve the heights of his previous work. Not to mention, the working relationship between he and Gucci Mane had all but fell apart. They were at one point not even on speaking terms. And some chalked it up to Gucci being jealous of Waka and the buzz that he had generated, mixed with the drug-fueled psychosis that he had been going through, considering he was basically on a bender at that point. It also begs the question, was Gucci's earlier advice really genuine? Did he really say that because he was trying to help Waka out, or because he didn't want any competition within his camp? Further tragedy would strike for Waka personally when his brother K.O. Red took his own life. Waka had previously lost one of his other brothers years back, so the impact of this was even heavier than normal. And the pressure from this, along with the downswing of his career, all began to mount up. Sensing the writing on the wall, in 2014, Waka and his then wife Tammy Rivera joined the cast of Love and Hip Hop. Their storyline focused mainly on their relationship, particularly on the challenges that they faced due to Waka's career and Tammy's desire to establish her own identity outside of Waka's wife. The show also featured Waka's mom, Deb, which further extended her celebrity. As per usual with Love and Hip Hop, it was chock full of drama and put Waka's personal life on full display. But more importantly, it put a check in his pocket, and it kept him in the eyes of culture fans. The success of his appearances on the show spawned a spinoff called Waka and Tammy, Waka Flocka. And much like fellow Atlanta natives Young Jock and Lil Scrappy, Waka basically left rap behind for a time. But once he decided to pick it back up, he realized how the death of his brother was still lingering with him. He found it hard to go back to rapping about the same old street stuff from before, having a newfound outlook and all. But if you know record execs, then you know they in no way are supportive of positive change for rappers. When he approached them about his desire to relay a more positive messaging, they basically told him that if he was no longer interested in replicating what made him popular, then they were no longer interested in him as an artist. And ever since then, Waka has been relegated to the mixtape circuit. In a recent turn of events, he took to a path often traveled by, shall I say, washed up rappers and entertainers and fans of the culture, and went to social media loudly proclaiming his quote-unquote independent thinker-derived voting decisions. And I really don't get this. It's like, dude, no one gives a shit who you plan on voting for. Just do your thing and God bless. But after penning this script, I got to thinking, maybe Waka's newfound love is due to all of the drama that he's experienced throughout his life. And rightly or wrongly, some view that side of the aisle as the ones that are quote unquote tough on crime or whatever. So maybe he views Dude as an answer to some of the things that's plagued his life. Man, I try to stay away from politics on here, but this one kind of just drugged me into the shit pile. But then recently, there was a video that surfaced last week of Waka performing at a Pokemon trading card convention. Worth an estimated $7 million, it would seem that he's not hurting financially. Not on the same level of some of his peers, but not hurting by any means. Just like he's just chilling now, doing things that he's into. He plays video games, he has a farm, and although he and Tammy have since gotten divorced, he now has a new girl. As for his music career, I really don't see it making a comeback. But you kind of gotta ask, does he even want to make a comeback under the certain criteria that he's being placed under at the current moment? He always had a tweener sound that really worked best for the mid 2000s era. These days, I think that the game has pretty much left him too far behind to catch up. But what do you think? Were you a fan of Waka Flocka back in the day? Do you think that he can make a comeback? Hit us in the comments section and let us know. And if you made it this far through the video, we hope that you hit the like button for us. Again, liking and sharing these videos is the only way for YouTube to notice smaller channels like ours and help us continue to grow. And if you want to be updated whenever we drop a new episode, then hit the subscribe button and then the notification bell. That way you can be reminded whenever a new video drops. And with that being said, I'm Nate the Great from Takeflight214.com signing out. Until next time, peace.
Now, Weezy on the track, boy.